I got audio. We're going to check this against YouTube. I'm going to check this against YouTube, see what's going on. Because we had audio. Okay, so it looks like YouTube is working for us. We did a live stream just a little bit ago and had an issue. Actually, it appeared to be recording fine, and it was more. It was more of a on the playback. There was no audio there, so I'm going to get this back together. What I'll have to do is I'll have to go in and pull back the work that we just reviewed, which is fine. It's not a huge deal. I don't mind doing it. I just I hate putting recordings out there that don't have any audio. So we're going to try this again. We're also going to yeah, we'll just do it here. We'll do it right here. The audio appears to be working fine. However, I need to go back and pull back the work that was performed by Bren and by Abby so we can take a look at that, because I obviously gave feedback on what I thought they should be doing to improve their work. And then, of course, no audio. So without further ado, let me pull that work up, and then I'll be like right back in 1 second. And thanks to Charles. I believe it was a YouTube comment. Somebody said, "Hey, no audio." It's like, that can't be right. No, it was right. It was completely accurate. That's good, you know. I formulated my thoughts. My thoughts will be far more succinct this time, because I've already done it once today. Anyway. And then the good news for Abby and for Bren is that they will receive 2 cans of Goya beans. No, not really. I don't give out Goya beans. All right. So let's make it back over here. I'm going to take these off because the audio is working. I just confirmed it on the YouTube, this live stream. So we're going to take a quick look at that. But let's get this underway. Greetings, one and all. Chris Courtney here, New Pragmatic. Take 2 of the feedback loop. First version of this did not have audio. Don't know why. I don't know why. Everything's hooked up. The audio levels are fine. Went onto the YouTubes. Wasn't any audio on the stream. So I checked that this time. Made sure we've got clear audio coming through on the live stream. Now, if it doesn't record this time, I'm just going to have to kill YouTube. Sorry. I like it too. I don't want to really get rid of it. But Abby's in here and Bren is in here. It's election day. It's a little lighter. Why would it be lighter? Is there anything going on? Yes, there's something going on. Everybody's focused on voting. If by the way, if you're watching this and you can vote, vote. If you're in Canada or if you're in India and you just want to put like the name of a candidate on a napkin and like shove it in a mailbox, by all means, do that. That counts. It won't count toward the vote, but it'll make you feel better. You can participate. Why not? I would be really interested, like if they set up a voting booth in Potsdamer Platz in Berlin. Like if there was a voting booth there, would people actually like submit votes? I would love to see it. Maybe that's a great art installation idea. Like global voting. Like how's it come out? Anyway, we're not going to be voting today. We're going to be, well, actually, I've already voted. I can't vote again. but we're going to be looking at Abby and Bryn's work. So I'm going to share my screen, and let's get this underway. Okay, we're just going to start right here with Bryn, and Bryn has submitted her personas, and the personas, by and large, are pretty good. Okay, she's got one that's focused on educator. She's got one focused on a mom, and I like everything about this until we get down to the scenarios. And Bryn specifically mentioned, I'm not sure if I hit that scenario, and the answer is no. Mainly because the scenarios that I'm looking for are related to your primary target. So, for instance, helping her daughter catch up on unfinished schoolwork. That is a scenario that this busy mom does. That is also in line with what your top priority is. Checking the school website for COVID-related news and updates. Not focused on the target issue that you're trying to address, which is you're trying to address the fact that virtual learning is all, or remote learning is all virtual right now. There's no other alternatives. And you mentioned in a couple of spots here, like internet access really isn't, constant internet access isn't a thing. She browses the internet dial-up style. So, that means that there's certain educational opportunities, like live streaming just isn't a possibility. Like zooming into a classroom when you have dial-up, not going to happen. Why is that? That's because this person lives out in the country. So Bryn is focused on solving for the country dilemma. Like, got an immunocompromised mom. Totally understand why she wouldn't want to send her kid into school, but they don't even have internet. They might have money for internet. It's not even like an economic thing. It's just like the access isn't there. So how do you work around that? Flip side, Amy here is a concerned educator. She educates people in the country. She could live in the city and drive out to the country. She could live in the suburbs and drive out to the country, whatever the scenario is. But she is, there's some scenarios here like reorganizing classroom to maintain social distancing, not in the wheelhouse of what your solution's trying to do. Your solution's trying to address that second one, planning take-home assignments so students don't fall behind. Great. How do those things get collected? How do they get packaged together? How do they get to the person? There's a lot of questions there. How does Amy update the collection of assignments? Does Amy have to put all of these assignments together, or is it a cooperative amongst the teachers? I don't know, because the scenarios are like 2 of the 3 scenarios aren't really focused on that. So I would prefer to see some focus that brings it closer into line. And just coming back over to your affinity mapping exercise, which means we're going to go into Miro for a second. Miro, great platform. So we're over here, and your top priority here is this whole how to be remote without being live virtual, right? That's the priority here, and how to help the teacher deliver the same quality without being physically present. And I know there's going to be a question like, can I really do that if I'm not present? And I would argue that there are ways that teachers can be more effective without actually being present. I believe that. I think that there's so many times, and I remember this personally as a kid, that there's so many times where I said something, or a teacher said something, and I couldn't go back to that moment. Also, from a parent's perspective, there's so many times that my kids would say, yeah, such and such happened. Did it really? Did it happen that way? Are you remembering it correctly? Because I remember as a kid, I would remember things that were remembered differently by the other adults in the room, the teachers. So like, there's so many things that we can address here. But how do we address that if we don't have continual, good, high-quality broadband access to the internet? There's a lot here, and I need them to show up over here. Okay? So, like, this one works fine. That's a scenario. This one works fine. That's a scenario. The other two, I think, could be rewritten, and I would rewrite them with these targets in mind. Your priority is that curriculum. Okay? So, with that said, let's move over to Abby. Abby has, she's on the second cut of her presentation. So, for Abby, she's building an online platform, which is different than what Bren's building, because her, again, in the program, the research impacts the direction that you go. And just real quick, I want to check the live stream. I hear audio coming from the live stream, so I just wanted to make sure that that was actually happening, so that we don't get into another scenario where it's like there's no audio on the YouTubes. But with that said, right now you have the key takeaways. You have what you're creating. You have what you're working on now. That's great. You've mixed in here like who it's for, the teachers, students, parents. That's fine. But I haven't seen why. Okay? And the why for you is actually over here. I want to say it's an old PNG2. This is important because the thing you're making provides a safer alternative to in-school learning. And this is also important because students and teachers need to be able to continue with their lessons without a disruption. Okay? So, case in point, if people are in school and suddenly school is canceled, moves, whatever, this platform that Abby's working on would allow people to just pick up because they are using this for in school or out of school. Okay? I think it's very important to get that why it's important into the mix. And right now, when we look at your current lineup here, I see, what you're building. I see, for students, you can obtain all your classwork under one platform. Teachers can upload lessons, assets in one space. Like these are the details, and really it's kind of the same bit of details. Kind of tells you it's rewording what's here. So I think you've doubled up on what without getting into the why it's important. Why is this important? Well, we need to be able to work without disruption. We need a safe place for these students and teachers. And this gets kind of to what Brent was talking about with the immunocompromised issue, and you shouldn't have to choose between your career and your health. Those issues very much apply here, but I'm not seeing it right now. So we need to work the how, not the how, but I'm sorry, the why. We need to work the why back into this. And then from there, I would push forward. I would just go, okay, I've kind of got my presentation mapped out, and now I can go build it. Okay, and we'll work together more on the building side of it. But I just want to make sure that we have the key pieces. And right now, not the how. Gosh, I did it again. But the why. You have the what, right? You have the who. The who's sprinkled in here. You don't have the why, and then the how is down here. How we're going to do it is right down here. All right. Okay. I realize this is a shortened version. Let's make it back over here to this. Yep. Realize this is a shortened version of the feedback loop, but when you do it when it's done on the second take, you pretty much already got your thoughts in line. So for Abby, working back in the why. So, make sure to include why in that presentation, but I don't want to see another round of the note card. You've got everything. Now let's just get it into the presentation. And for Bryn, this is really about going back to your affinity mapping and making sure your scenarios are hitting on things that you have already said are the most important. Okay? If you can do that, I think you're well on your way. And user, there's an article that I included from Jared Spool that talks about, and also there's stuff from New Pragmatics in that exercise that talk about flipping from a scenario to a user story. So I would pay close attention to that as you might make this migration from personas into user stories, which is the next big leap for you in the project. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, go run up the score, America. Go vote. And I'll chat with all of you again tomorrow. I hope. See ya.